question here is affordability. Gentrification, by which I mean the replacement of older construction with bigger, more expensive residential housing, is a concern in multiple neighborhoods of Evanston. Do you share this concern? And if so, do you believe that it's appropriate for a city to take any measures to slow or halt gentrification?
Yes, I believe it is appropriate for a city to slow or halt gentrification. I think the West Side Plan is a good plan and should be followed. I do not think that we're going to have the problems that you described with monster houses during this recession. I think we have ample time. Regrettably, I think we're going to have years before those issues confront us again. And I think we have ample time to look at our zoning and to look at our ordinances and be sure that gentrification does not take place. I do believe that we need more apartment buildings. We've lost a lot of apartment buildings as they've been converted to condos. Evanston has historically had a mix of housing types, and that has been part of the diversity in our community. It's been provided by a mix of types, and if we have more apartments, then hopefully there will be somewhat better housing for the students who have abysmal living conditions in some of the apartments in town. So I hope that more competition will improve the standard of some of our apartment buildings. But yes, I think gentrification is a valid issue for our community to address, and one that we need to, but I don't think it's an emergency right now.
I really think the whole paradigm has changed, and I think when we talk about affordable housing now, we're really talking about almost everybody in Evanston. I have had people, when I come to their door, say, wait a minute, let me show you my property tax bill. Let me show you this thing I can't afford to pay anymore. Let me show you this thing that makes me need to leave town if I could sell my house. It's an unbelievable experience to have. My wife Vicki and I live in a rather modest bungalow a few blocks away on Fair. $1,000 a month for the privilege of living in our house. And we love it, and we pay the tax bill gladly, but there is a point where we are taxing people out of town. And I think it's a crisis. Now, I've been chastised by some of the other candidates for that, but my experience going door to door in Evanston and hearing the stories of people at their front door, at their tables, is we are in a crisis. So we should be thinking about what's affordable for everybody in Evanston. That's where we're at right now. That's where the discussion ought to be. And unless we have ideas for how to grow, or we have something right in front of us that helps us grow, I really think our conversation is off base.
I don't think we have a gentrification problem in Evanston. I know there's some folks on the west side that think we do, but the West Side Plan, as a member of the Planning Commission, I worked on for about 2.5 years, and not a single person, if this is all built out as prescribed in the decades ahead, not a single person will be displaced. The property in question on the west side is largely underutilized industrial property, and also includes the Mayfair Railroad Spur, which is a vacant line that runs from Simpson all the way down to Main Street, and it's just vacant property. So there's a few old houses that get torn down from time to time, but that always happens. But I don't think we have a widespread gentrification problem by any means.
I think gentrification is an issue. One of the real issues is the teardowns and the development of new property near existing houses. Because when property is assessed, as values rise, the house next door to you, your property value tends to rise as well, which again, you end up paying a little bit bigger share of the property tax burden. What we ought to be looking for in terms of affordability is really sustainability. The greenest building is an existing building. It also, but beyond that, we ought to be looking at the components that make up our housing costs, and that includes utility costs. Property taxes is a huge issue, And I've been talking to people, and both with respect to commercial property and rental residential property, we've gotten to the point where the property tax bills are more than, in some instances, than you can get for renting the house or the apartment. And that is really a frightening thought, because that means that our landlords are going to be less and less able to provide the kind of affordable housing that we've come to expect. So I think that this is an issue that, while the economy is slow, we really ought to be addressing, and we have to address it just by virtue of all of the foreclosures that we have.
Take a little lighter turn. Stuart, why don't you tackle this one first, and we'll just go down the line. A local bank has a brochure featuring a quote from an internet columnist who refers to our town as the People's Republic of Evanston. Is that an appropriate nickname? And as mayor, would you work to make it more true or less true?
I don't have an answer for that.
I think it probably, there is a bit of truth to that statement, and I think that we ought to be working to make it more of a people's republic, where we all have a stake in the future of the community and creating the vision and working together in all of the facets to move that vision forward.
I love the People's Republic of Evanston. I think it's a great name, and I think that the amount of community participation in this community sets us apart from all the other communities on the North Shore. I think it's wonderful, and I welcome that participation, and I'm not sure that we could expand citizen participation because everybody's pretty active, but I think that's one of the great attributes of this community.
It's certainly a familiar phrase that you hear. Again, I just feel like in some ways the party's over, but I think the good news is Evanston is uniquely positioned to not just survive but do well in this environment. We have a city to be envied with our transportation infrastructure, with our incredibly not just talented and bright but educated population. If we could get the northwestern Evanston piece moving in the right direction, and I've had some very encouraging communications with the incoming president, who seems to appreciate dialogue, and he's an economist. So I am hopeful. Again, People's Republic of Evanston, great. We can put it on license plates if people want, but I do believe we just need to start focusing on what's on the ground right in front of us, because reality is at the door.